2006. My book had only been out for a few years. And even though people wrote me for travel advice, they never really asked me for mentorship directly. And this guy, he approached me very much not in the succinct Tim Ferriss manner you mentioned. It was like an 8-paragraph email. He wanted to have a phone call. He actually used the phrase "thank you in advance." But it was very charming, and he was very complimentary of my writing. So I got on the phone with him. I sent him to my agent, who turned him down. But eventually, he became a best-selling author. That was actually Tim Ferriss in 2006. And so it was so funny that your book is often about, you know, making mistakes and working through things, and it's also about how Tim Ferriss has this awesome.
I love this story so much. I want you to say it a second time so I can hear it again because it's so great. There's a very it's very strange, the feeling of it felt so good to hear that. Because I was on the other side of the table so long with Tim to hear. It makes a lot of sense, and it's a very beautiful story.
Well, Tim is a super smart guy, but he refined his approach, and he did a lot of the same things that you did. I mean, he approached a lot of strangers, including me, and I wrote a book that he liked. I wasn't like Bill Gates. I'm not a world famous guy, but it was interesting that, and obviously even though it was an 8-paragraph email instead of a 3-paragraph email like he later advised, I could just sort of see his passion and his enthusiasm in it. But it's interesting that obviously when Tim Ferriss sent me an email, he was still working through this process that he later advised you about.
I almost feel guilty how much this story makes me happy. It's fantastic.
And so it was interesting all these years later to be reading your book, and Tim Ferriss comes up a lot as sort of an example, you know, as sort of the person who became successful in the world and has all this wisdom to share. Yet I met Tim when he was a guy who I sent to my agent. My agent said, "Thanks, no thanks," which is really my agent's, you know, that was my agent's mistake, because clearly Tim had an entire franchise at stake. And so I think, you know, that's one of my Tim Ferriss stories. And I don't think I've ever told that story exactly, you know, because I don't think I'd ever seen anyone outline his approach in the same way that you had. And I thought, I'm going to count how many paragraphs Tim had in his first email to me.
I love that. And was that a cold email that he sent to you?
It was a cold email, yeah.
That's fantastic. And what did you sense in that email? You know, it was clearly, you know, it's 8 paragraphs. You know, you could sense it was too long, but what made you actually want to get on the phone with him?
Well, the subject heading said something along the lines of email from Tim Ferriss, Princeton lecturer. And so I thought, okay. But it could have said, you know, email from Tim Ferriss, Scranton Community College lecturer, right, because it was clear that he had read my book and that he had taken its advice to heart and that he was very sincere. And so I think 8 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs, you know, maybe 25 paragraphs is too much, but sincerity, I think, counts for a lot. And just showing that, look, I'm not just a guy who wants advice. You can really sense sincerity. And I could sense sincerity in Tim's email to me all these years ago.